sir.
30, shall we start?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Yes,
sir.
yes, yes.
Well, today we are talking on a very common remedy, and that is Nux vomica. That is a basic remedy. And if I am given a choice to take 5 remedies with me on a tour, one of them will definitely be Nux vomica. Now, here I'm here not to tell you the symptoms of Nux vomica, because probably you know them better. You know them much better than what I know. You are more younger and you just passed out from the college. You have studied materia medica thoroughly and you are much smarter. Here I am going to tell you where we can use Nux vomica. When do we use Nux vomica? In what conditions we use Nux vomica? And I feel a lot of or more majority of the population of Mumbai is typical Nux vomica because they live a sedentary life. It is more mental work and less physical work. So here we are not, again, I'm not going to go into the details of sedentary life, but you should know that in sedentary life, there is very less physical activity or hardly any physical labor. It is more mental strain, mental stress, and he is given multiple tasks to be done. So, my dear friends, you will remember one thing, that whenever there is, this multitasking jobs gives rise to the symptoms of Nux vomica. Now, for example, there's a great difference between the man and a woman. Woman has got, I call it, they have 6 senses, whereas man has only 5 senses, that is touch, taste, hearing, seeing, and you know, touch, taste, hearing, seeing, and smelling. So these are only 5 senses which man has. The woman has got a 6th sense, that is a special sense of touch. In case you go and touch a woman, and she immediately can make out what type of touch you are doing. That is, are you what type of what is there in your mind? For example, when you go and shake hands with a girl, she knows is it a fatherly touch, it is a teacherly touch, or it is a romantic touch, or it is a touch with a bad intention. So all these things you will make out. She can make out immediately because she's been she is she is a multitasking person. She can she can remember the how many the cooker has given shitties, where the child is crying, what is going on the radio, what is going on the TV. Here she might be sewing a cloth, she might be cutting something. She is specialized in multitasking. But for a man, it is one single task. He can do one single task at a time. That is, if he is told to dig a hole, he can dig a hole perfectly, but suddenly if you give him some other job, he may not be able to do it. So here in Nux vomica, if a person is going through multitasking, like what happens during Mumbai, what happens in Mumbai is a person traveling from, for example, traveling from Kalyan, it takes him almost 1.5 hours to reach uh, Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus, and from there, as soon as he gets out, he is fully engulfed in a crowd, which keeps him on pushing him, and then suddenly he turns towards Kulaba, and then he lands up in his office. So here is basically it is not more physical labor, it is more of a mental stress which he goes through. And the moment he reaches his office, his boss shouting at him that these things have to be done, these things have to be completed, these things have to be written down, and all that. And this, because of multitasking, he gets irritated. Now, that is one part is multitasking. Second part, I always say that they have some hysterical complaints also. Basically, this hysterical complaint in Nux vomica is because of anger. Now, who this person who has his main weapon is his anger. It is not the destructive anger like what we have in Homeopath or in you know, for example, Merksol and all this. It is not destructive anger. Now, I'll give an example. Let's say you stay in a joint family. In the joint family, it is not the eldest person, it is not the eldest person who is the boss of the family. It is the smartest person who is the boss of the family. You will always observe that who is the smartest. He might be the youngest in the family, but he is the smartest. And he keeps on allotting job to everyone. Are tu aisa kar, you go to the farm, you go look after the cattle, you go and bring some fodder for the cattle, you go and go to the market and sell these goods. And he will be giving different tasks to different persons of the family and sees that the task is done. Now his main weapon, this his main weapon is his anger. He uses his anger and people are afraid of him because he is a very irritable or very angry man. But he does it for the good of the family, not that he does it for the good of the family. He is not doing it for to harm the family, but to bring the family together. So his ego cannot be hurt. He is very egoistic. So these egoistic people, whenever you see these egoistic people, you find the traits of Naksvika in them because they have got high ego and then they use their anger as a weapon and they see that everyone comes together, everyone gets together, and the family remains together. So that is a typical trend of Naksvika. So he has those qualities of a leader. He can keep the family together, but because of his smartness, not because of only his destructiveness, is not destructive. For example, when I was doing my practice in Mumbai, every month I used to come to Mumbai and I used to practice in Dadar TT. The next to that Babu Jagjivan Das. The, there was one good luck driving school. So behind good luck driving school, I used to sit there in a consulting room and I used to practice. So there, only my car, because I was working, I was having consulting room there, I was allowed to park my car in the compound. Any other people were not allowed to park the car in the compound. So though in Mumbai, they play this underarm cricket and it's real fun to watch. And most of the time, if the glass breaks, no one will come and complain because there's a person sitting next door will come and fix up the glass. So when the glass breaks, they know they have no place to play. That's why they are playing there. So someone had parked a car there in the compound, and these people, the boss of this team of cricketers, he came to me, डॉक्टर साहब ये गाड़ी किसकी है? I said मेरी नहीं है. आपके पास पेशेंट आया होगा. मेरे पास पेशेंट भी कोई नहीं आया है. फिर गाड़ी किसकी? तो मुझे मालूम नहीं. आपने देखा नहीं? मैंने नहीं देखा. अरे फिर गाड़ी किसने लगाई? मैं क्या जानूं? मैं आई डोंट नो यार. मुझे जानता ही नहीं कहाँ कौन सी गाड़ी है, किसकी गाड़ी है. फिर गाड़ी लगाना इधर अलाउड नहीं है. मुझे मालूम है. मैं तो मेरी गाड़ी वहां लगा हुई है. ये मेरी गाड़ी नहीं है. एंड देन वो बहुत इरिटेटेड हो गया था. I thought he might hit the person who has parked the car. Suddenly, a 6 feet tall Sardarji came and he tried to open the lock of the car. So this person, a shorter fellow, went and started threatening the Sardarji. Sardarji, इधर गाड़ी क्यों लगाई? अरे जगह दी गई इसलिए लगाई. ये लगाने की जगह नहीं है. तो मुझे क्या मालूम यार, अच्छी जगह देखी इसलिए मैंने लगा दी. नहीं नहीं नहीं, नॉट अलाउड. ठीक है भैया, अगली बार नहीं लगाता. ऐसे कैसे? तुमको समझता नहीं ये प्राइवेट कंपाउंड है, आपने कैसे लगाई? तो तेरे बैंड के सदाजी द मोमेंट ही स्टार्टेड अब्यूजिंग दैट पर्सन इज सेइंग ओके ठीक है अगली बार मत करो. सो दैट इज अ टिपिकल नक्सोमी का. वो कभी झगड़ा का मूड रहता है उसका, मगर he won't go on a violent fight. He'll always maintain his distance, and he will talk very aggressively. But the moment he feels इस पर कुछ आने वाला है और चुप बैठ जाता है. तो नक्सवमिका, typical Nakshamikas are the people who have a high ego, high irritability, and because of the irritability, once I still remember in one when I was in the college, that time of course I didn't know homeopathy. I was doing my 12th science, and then एक नाटक था, एक डांस था, डफली वाले डफली बजे. तो ये डफली बजे का डांस था, तो आई वाज देयर. उस समय वो कैसेट प्लेयर रहा करते थे, एंड देन आई वाज देयर टू पुट इन द कैसेट. आई वाज ऑन द स्टेज. तो ये जब कैसेट लगाने गया, तो उसके पहले अनाउंसिंग हुआ. तो एज यू नो, कोई भी गैदरिंग में वो अनाउंसिंग हिंदी में ही होना चाहिए, बिकॉज वो हिंदी तो सब स्टेज की भाषा है. तो देन वो अनाउंस किया, आपके सामने पेश हो रहा है डफली वाले डफली बजा. इसके रूप में ये आ रहे हैं, उसके रूप में के रूप में ये आ रहे हैं, ऋषि कपूर के रूप में ये आदमी आ रहा है, और दिल थाम के कुर्सी थाम के बैठो, डफली वाले डफली बजे. अनाउंस किया, मैंने कैसेट लगाया. तो कैसेट लगने को तैयार नहीं था उस समय. मैकेनिज्म वाज नॉट सो एडवांस. तो कैसेट लगने को तैयार नहीं था. तो मैंने वो अनाउंसर को बोला, अरे कैसेट नहीं लग रहा है, नहीं है करके बोल. तो सॉरी सॉरी, हमको ये कहने को बहुत महसूस हो रहा है कि दोनों भी इधर मौजूद हैं, इसलिए प्रोग्राम कैंसिल हो रहा है. तभी कैसेट लग गई. कैसेट लगने के बाद सडनली ये अगेन अनाउंस, हाँ आ गए दोनों घूम के आ गए. तो डब्ल्यू वाले तो डब्ल्यू वाला खड़ा हो गया उधर से. वो जयाप्रदा के रूप में जो थी वो भी खड़ी हो गई, और मुझे जैसे कैसेट दी थी वैसे मैंने लगाई थी. गाना लग गया, सुना है ना. तो डब्ल्यू वाला पूछा क्या करूं क्या करूं क्या? तो मैंने बोला ठीक, रुक रुक रुक. तो अनाउंसर वापस स्टेज पे गया, गाना गाने लगा, डब्ल्यू वाले डब्ल्यू बजा. तो देयर वाज अ ग्रेट चाउस देयर. एंड तो हमने वो कर्टन खींच लिया, उसको बाहर निकाला, डब्ल्यू वाले को. ये जयाप्रदा हलने को ही तैयार नहीं. मतलब क्या हुआ? शी वाज जस्ट स्टैंडिंग इन द सेम पोजीशन, और डांसिंग पोजीशन में खड़ी थी. मतलब क्या हुआ, हेलो क्या हुआ? शी हैड अ लॉक जॉ. तो गुस्से के कारण इट वाज अ हिस्टेरिकल लॉक जॉ. So she had to be taken to a doctor to open that lung jaw. So this typical symptoms of Naksvamika, sudden temper, rise of temper, and because of the sudden rise of temper, ये सब whatever the गड़बड़ हो गया उस स्टेज पर, उसके कारण उसको लॉक जॉ हो गया. So this is a typical Naksvamika. Now, second thing, one more thing about Naksvamika, which I have observed is, see, the body has got a clock. For example, if you're used to getting at 6 o'clock in the morning, so by the time by 6:15, 6:30, you have a nature's call, you go to nature's call, then by 7 o'clock, 7:30, you start feeling hungry, you will have breakfast. From there, you go to your whatever your work is. By 12 o'clock, again, the appetite juice comes out, you feel hungry, you eat, and then evening by 5 o'clock, you feel like having a cup of tea, and night, you feel like after 8 o'clock, you feel like having food. Now, this is a body clock, and after 9:30, 10, you feel sleepy, you go to sleep, and again you wake up at 6 o'clock. So, this is a body clock, normal body clock. इसमें थोड़ा variation आएगा, of course. Some people might be having their breakfast at 10 o'clock. Some people may not, they may skip the breakfast and have direct lunch at 11 o'clock, whatever it is. But the people, if you this can be maintained if you have a strict timetable. But people who work in 3 shifts, what are they supposed to do? So every time the shift changes, so morning 6 to afternoon, I mean, morning 8 to afternoon 4, from 4 to again 12, and from 12 to again 8 in the morning. तो अगर ऐसे 3 शिफ्ट में, एक हफ्ते में एक शिफ्ट में, दूसरे हफ्ते में दूसरे शिफ्ट में, तीसरे हफ्ते में तीसरी शिफ्ट में काम करने वालों को बॉडी का टाइम टेबल, बॉडी बॉडी क्लॉक इज डिस्टर्ब. बॉडी क्लॉक इज टोटली डिस्टर्ब. And when the body clock is disturbed, naturally, to set up that body clock, it calls for Naxwamika. So Naxwamika is a remedy. So whenever there is irregularity in your life becomes irregular. If you're traveling, for example, traveling the time, it is not necessary that you will get food at the right when you feel hungry. It might be early also, it might be late also. And how do you expect, for example, if you go for a party, और 2 बजे तक पार्टी चला आपका, you have a couple of drinks and snacks and food, और 2 बजे आने के बाद आपको वापस 8 बजे ऑफिस जाना है, and you go to the loo or you go to the washroom at 7 o'clock, but you don't feel satisfied. You don't feel satisfied by passing stools, because when you not didn't have food on time, how do you expect the stools to come on time? It is not possible. So इसको क्या बोलते हैं हम? जिजो, like computer, garbage in, garbage out. So if you put in garbage in computer, the results will be garbage again. Similarly, if you have food on time, you sleep on time, naturally you'll get stools on time. Or the whole day you feel unsatisfied, and this unsatisfied feeling, you have constant urging for stools because you have not maintained your body clock. When you don't maintain your body clock, this can happen. Now, another example I like to give, people who work in three shifts is one of the examples, of course, or people who have irregular lifestyle. They have late night parties and all that. So those people also keep on spoiling their body clock. And another example I like to give is the people who fly. People actually not one or 2 times, but the people who fly continuously on international circuit. So those are the pilots and the air crew, that is air hostesses, the stewards and the pilots. So for example, if a person is flying from Mumbai to New York, so every time there's a different time difference is 12 hours, and it is known as that particular stage is known as changing of time zone. So changing of time zone is jet lag. It is known as jet lag. For example, if you fly from Mumbai, it is night, and after 16 hours, when you land in New York, again it is night. So your body clock can get spoiled, and the air hostesses who fly from they cross couple of time zones in one shift, and again after 2 days they again shift couple of time zones and come back to India. Those people are more prone for Naxvamika, and those air hostesses, I don't know if you have observed, they hardly conceive because their menstruation is spoiled. Menstruation is not on time because of the jet lag or time lag, and their whole system is spoiled. Though they might be sleeping on the plane, but the time clock of the day and night time clock is totally spoiled. And as per the lot of our functions, they actually they take place as per the time clock of the day. And when you have totally disturbed time clocks, when the disturbed time clock is there, naturally your whole system is spoiled. And here again, it may call for Naxwamika, where you have to set up their body clock. Body clock setting जो है, air hostesses or these people, like not only air hostesses but pilots also, who keep on flying from one time zone to another. Couple of time zones they cross. And I gave an example of America because America is 12 hours exactly behind us. America and 12 hours behind when this time the jet lag is there. That's why sportsmen, whenever they go to any other country where there's a different time zone, they are flown at least 8 days in advance. So their whole performance doesn't get hampered. Their whole body or their physiological system suits. Once they get settled that as per the time clock of London, then they will perform well. If they are flown one day in advance, and before by the time they could recoup, their performance is not even 70%. So here I would say Nux should be the remedy because It is a remedy to set up the body clock. Then we have anything done in excess. Anything done in excess, we think of Lakshmanika. So not sleeping in excess is also Lakshmanika. For example, if you want to see a match which is going to be shown on the TV for 2 o'clock, and then you try to get some sleep before 2 o'clock, and then you wake up at 2 o'clock, you see the match till 4 o'clock, and again you go to sleep. Now this जो जो स्लीपिंग पैटर्न में आप फर्क कर रहे हैं, तो यू आर डिस्टर्बिंग योर स्लीप. दिस कैन गिव राइज टू द सिम्टम्स ऑफ नक्शोमिका. एनीथिंग डन इन एक्सेस, like eating in excess, drinking in excess, smoking in excess, alcohol in excess. Now one of the examples I like to give is ये बहुत घर में जो एल्डरली पर्सन पीपल होते हैं, उनको डॉक्टर डॉक्टर खेलने को बहुत मजा आता है. डॉक्टर डॉक्टर खेल क्या है कि भाई कोई भी डॉक्टर के पास चले गए एल्डरली पीपल, व्हाट दे डू इज दे आस्क द डॉक्टर, डॉक्टर साहब मुझे ये तकलीफ है, मुझे दवाई दो. तो डॉक्टर दे लेता है, जैसे ये दवाई 3-4 दवाई देता है. तो एल्डरली पर्सन क्या करता है, उनको पूछा डॉक्टर साहब ये क्या क्या दवाई है. तो डॉक्टर बोलता है ये पहली दवाई बुखार की है, फिर दवाई है आपको खांसी हुई उसकी है, दूसरी दवाई है आपके बॉडी के लिए, चौथी दवाई है आपको इंडाइजेशन नहीं होना चाहिए इसलिए दिया है. So what this person does, he keeps on, the moment he gets that prescription, comes out of the clinic, उसको सामने वो मार करके रखता है, फीवर, हेडेक और बॉडी एक, जो भी है, खांसी, एंड फॉर एग्जाम्पल इंडाइजेशन. एंड ही गोज टू द फार्मासिस्ट. फार्मासिस्ट को तो धंधा करना है यार, वो क्या है, उसको बोलता है कि भाई ये दवाई दो और डबल दो. दवा डबल क्यों नहीं, वो लगेगा वापिस नहीं आना, मैं आ पड़ेगा. तो ये डबल लेता है और उस पर वो पूरा उसका रिकॉर्ड रख देता है. तो व्हेनेवर ही गोज टू डॉक्टर, ये डबल डबल दवाई लेके आते हैं. एंड ही इज जस्ट वेटिंग फॉर गेस्ट टू एंटर हिज हाउस. गेस्ट एंटरिंग हिज हाउस बोले तो कोई भी गेस्ट आता है और जो खांसी, अरे खांसी हुई, रुको मेरे पास एक मस्त दवाई है खांसी के लिए, ये बोलेगा. तो गेस्ट बोलते हैं इट इज टायरिंग जल्दी, बॉडी है, रुको रुको रुको, आई हैव गॉट अ मेडिसिन फॉर बॉडी. एक बोलेगा अरे पेट कोई साफ नहीं हो रहा है, तो फॉर इंडाइजेशन वेरी गुड मेडिसिन. ऐसे एक डॉक्टर डॉक्टर खेलने का बहुत शौक होता है ये एल्डरली पीपल, क्योंकि एल्डरली पीपल, और सिर्फ डॉक्टर डॉक्टर खेलते नहीं है, खुद भी दवाई लेते थे. दे आर सेल्फ सेल्फ मेडिकेट करते हैं. एंड excessive medication may give rise to a lot of symptoms. And here again it is nux vomica which will come in handy and will help you or your patients whenever the medication has become excess or excessive medication के कारण a lot of problems arise. So as I told you, I am not here to give you the exact symptomatology of nux vomica. I am only going to tell you how and when नक्श भूमिका अपनी सोसाइटी में नक्श भूमिका का इस्तेमाल कैसे किया जाएगा और कौन से स्टेजेस में किया जाएगा, ये नक्श भूमिका का इलाज कब किया जाना चाहिए. नाउ there is one saying in medicine, what is health. हेल्थ का डेफिनेशन बहुत ही बढ़िया दिया हुआ है मेडिसिन में. फर्स्ट जैसे गुड एपिटाइट, good sleep and good stools, clear stools is health. This is a very broad statement. This may be what you can come up with a lot of objections here, but it is a very broad statement and it is a true statement also, because good appetite, good sleep and good stools or clear stools. Now, which is the most important part in this? It is the clear stools. अगर ड्रेनेज क्लियर रहेगा तो ऊपर से पानी नीचे बहेगा, अगर ड्रेनेज नहीं क्लियर रहेगा तो पानी नीचे नहीं बहेगा. So here, whenever in nux vomica, it is one of the remedies when there is constant urging for stools. Constant urging for stools because irregular peristalsis. We have developed an irregular habit of eating, so the peristalsis also become irregular. irregular peristalsis के कारण urging for stools, but there is no satisfaction, unsatisfactory stools. You're urging for stools, but unsatisfactory stools. So when the stools are clear, stools clear हो जाएगा तो आपको भूख अच्छी लगेगी, तो भूख अच्छी लगेगी तो आपको नींद अच्छी आ जाएगी. So here it is a very simple, I call it a very simple concept of health, where good appetite, good sleep, and good stools is a very broadly explained good health. और इसमें nux vomica plays a major role. Another thing is in small children. छोटे बच्चे में क्या होता है? The mothers, for example, if she is a prima gravida, first time she is delivered, तो बच्चों बच्चों को बहुत क्यूरियोसिटी रहता है. शी इज वेरी गुड क्यूरियस ऑफ द चाइल्ड, हिज हेल्थ, और उसको रोने नहीं देगी. उसको लगता है कि बच्चा रोएगा देन ही हिज हेल्थ माइट डिटोरिएट. So every time the child cries, she takes the child to the breast and tries to feed him. Now, when you keep on feeding the child constantly, so constantly excessive feeding, maybe the child can have fullness, and जरा भी खाने से fullness हो जाएगा, and then the child can become cranky, and you will have, so I mean, stools also, he will keep on passing stools after very few, very frequently he'll keep on passing stools, and when this he is not getting his stomach completely clear, so the child will try to strain and pass the stools, and here it will give rise to the umbilical hernia, because umbilical is not totally closed in infants. Umbilicus is not totally closed in infants, and in case he keeps on straining to pass, to empty the stomach, empty the intestinal bowels, empty the bowels, we will definitely, the child will keep on straining, and if because of straining, it will give rise to the umbilical hernia. So that's why nux vomica will have this umbilical hernia is one of the symptoms of nux vomica, and this happens in especially in the infants where they are overfed by the mothers, because the mothers feel the child should be given proper attention, or proper attention के कारण naturally the child is overfed. Now, whenever we have excessive food, or ज़्यादा partying बीटिंग कर लिया, तो गए, so there is one symptom in nocturnica which says that the cough is aggravated from midnight till you wake up. Now, what is the reason for this? There has to be some reason for this. When you lie down, and with a full stomach you lie down, you've eaten full, you have gone to a party, you have had a drink or two more, and naturally there's a regurgitation of the acids, and it will irritate the throat. And by the time, because you're lying down, it will come up to the throat, and then you start coughing. The irritating cough, sometimes you want to vomit, but you cannot vomit. There is a heartburn and a irritating cough. And when you wake up, the moment you wake up, you become straight. All the acid which was regurgitated up, it will go down, and then you feel relief. So they say nux vomica is having cough from midnight to till he wakes up. So that is the reason where, because of the fullness of the stomach, the food whatever you have eaten is comes up, and then it can irritate the throat, and it will give rise to cough. Similar symptoms in small children when they are overfeeding in small children, they start getting obstruction of the nose in the night, or snuffling. They do this because of the obstruction of the nose, snuffling of the nose. This is again because of overfeeding. So that whole thing, that congestion goes to the nose, and the nose gets obstructed. So instead of using some balm or nose drops, you try using nux vomica, and the nose gets cleared up. The nose will become fluent, and you can blow away the nose, and you can sleep peacefully. It works better than any nose drops, whenever you have obstruction of the nose, especially after a late night or heavy partying can give rise to the symptoms of nux vomica. Then all these things, I mean, the symptoms you know better, as I told you. I am not here to tell you the symptoms. I'm just telling you where nux vomica might be indicated, or you can have done wonders with nux vomica earlier also. And here, in case my lecture has given you some additional knowledge, I'd be happy to answer your question.